As children, our ideas of freedom usually fall into a few simple categories. I want to have anything I want. I don't want to follow rules. I want to stay up as late as I want or skip school whenever I feel like it. For me, freedom was always about choice. I wanted to decide how long I did something, if I did it, and why I did it. In my eyes, doing things by my own will gave them meaning. But as I got older, as I moved out and lived on my own, that dream of freedom began to become distorted. At 23, I've realized I might be more restricted now than I ever was as a kid. The laws are tighter, the image you present to the world matters, sometimes more than your actions, and there's always someone you have to answer to, even when you think it should only be God. Freedom, I've realized, is not something we're given, it's something we chase. It's a mirage, always just ahead but never fully in reach. And that's where Attack on Titan begins. Eren's desire for freedom started the same way mine did, a childish wish to break out of the cage, to see what lies beyond the walls. He watched birds soar through the sky and thought, that's what freedom must be. But his dream, like many of ours, was cut short. At just 10 years old, Eren watched his home fall and his mother die. From the very first episode, Attack on Titan draws a hard line between freedom and violence. This series isn't just about war or titans, it's about ideology and what happens when your vision of freedom directly threatens someone else's. Every character is fighting for their own version of it, and every version comes at a cost. The question, what is freedom, isn't just philosophical, it's personal. It's one you live your whole life trying to answer until one day you realize that the answer might be too late. So what is freedom really? Is it the right to live without fear? The power to make your own choices? The control of your time? Or is it something more dangerous? The ability to protect your world, even if it means destroying someone else's? Attack on Titan doesn't just explore freedom. It tears it apart and forces us to confront a question we might not be ready to answer. What does freedom cost? Episode 1 opens up with a question, a quiet, unspoken one about freedom. Eren stares up at the birds flying overhead, dazed. They move without barriers, without fear. From that opening shot, freedom secretly becomes baked into the show's DNA. The birds aren't just scenery, they're a symbol. Used again and again throughout the series, they represent what Eren lacks. They're free, he is not. The birds open the story and they close it. They bookend a narrative that is, at its core, about one thing: liberation. Every major character is driven by their own version of it. Eren wants to escape the walls and eventually to break the cycle of oppression entirely. Armin dreams of exploring, uncovering the truth of the world. Mikasa wants to protect those she loves. Reiner seeks peace by fulfilling his duty. Zeke believes in euthanasia as a path to long-term salvation. Historia wants to break free from the fate others have written for her. Freedom in Attack on Titan isn't just one idea. It's dozens of ideologies colliding, each one desperate to become the only truth. That's the brilliance of the show. It doesn't just explore freedom, it deconstructs it. It shows us that freedom can be many things: a double-edged sword, a reason for violence, a coping mechanism, a curse, a final way out. Every character begins with noble intentions, but those intentions slowly unravel. In their world, one person's freedom almost always costs another person's life. And to understand how the story became what it did, we need to go back to where it all started. To the moment a 10-year-old boy dreamt past the walls and wondered what it would be like to feel truly free. Freedom began as something innocent. For Eren, it was the idea of seeing beyond the walls. For Armin, it was the hope of reaching the ocean. It was wholesome, like a dream, pure and simple. Eren's obsession started the moment he realized that he and his people were, in his words, cattle living in a pen. He dreamed of a world outside the walls, not just for himself, but for everyone. But when the Colossal and Armored Titans breached Shiganshina, that dream turned into hatred. Eren no longer just wanted to see the world, he wanted to destroy what kept him from it. He convinced himself, if we kill all the Titans, then we can finally be free. This belief would echo throughout his journey, resurfacing later when he asked,
向こうにいる敵全部殺せば俺たち自由になれるのか?
Eren's idea of freedom was rooted in idealism, the belief that it was just one great victory away. Armin's vision was similar, but gentler. His freedom was tied to truth, not violence, to the oceans, deserts, and volcanoes that he'd read about in forbidden books. Armin dreamed of knowing the world, not escaping it. His freedom was mental, Eren's was physical. One saw freedom as a possibility, the other as control. To children like Eren, the Survey Corps were heroes, symbols of courage and the pursuit of liberation. But to the adults, they were suicidal, wasteful, and foolish. That contrast showed something crucial. Even before the war began, the image of freedom was already divisive. But reality would hit hard. Eren's ego began to crack during training. He wasn't as strong or exceptional as he believed. He struggled to keep up with the other cadets, a sign that the dream of being a hero wasn't going to come easy. Then came trust, the first real taste of what freedom costs. Eren watched his comrades die. He lost limbs trying to fight Titans. He realized that killing Titans wasn't a simple matter, and that being free wasn't just about wanting it hard enough. Armin shattered emotionally when he believed Eren had died to save him. It wasn't violence that broke him, it was helplessness. When Eren re-emerged as a Titan, it didn't feel empowering, it felt horrifying, and to many it wasn't a miracle but a nightmare. The dream of freedom, once shared and bright, started to fade, not because the goal had changed, but because the price had become clear. Blood, loss, horror, and that was just the beginning. The more Eren saw of the world, the more his vision of freedom hardened. He stopped thinking, if we kill the Titans, we'll be free. Instead, his mindset became, anyone who opposes my freedom is my enemy. The dream that started as a window to the outside world slowly transformed into a door drenched in blood. The innocent dream of breaking free, of reclaiming the skies beyond the walls, was never meant to survive. Not in a world where freedom is paid for in blood. The story changes when the enemy shifts from Titans to fellow humans. This moment is marked by a single question.
敵は何だと思う?
Erwin's question to Eren creates a turning point, one Eren doesn't fully grasp in that moment, but one he'll come to understand far too well. Erwin's mission to overthrow the corrupt king and place Historia on the throne marks the start of the first true human versus human war. And in this moment, Erwin becomes something else, a symbol of painful leadership. He's willing to sacrifice everything, his men, his dream, and his life, for even a chance at freedom. That resolve leads to one of the most powerful scenes in the entire series. Standing before a suicide charge against the Beast Titan, Erwin tells his soldiers to do the unthinkable.
They were not! Their memory serves as an example to us all! The courageous fallen, the anguished fallen. Their lives have meaning because we, the living, refuse to forget them! And as we ride to certain death, we trust our successors to do the same for us! Because my soldiers do not buckle or yield when faced with the cruelty of this world! My soldiers push forward! My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage!
A speech so iconic, it left the screen and became something people in the real world used to push themselves past limits. And yet, behind that fire is something more vulnerable. Erwin admits to Levi that all these sacrifices might just be for his own selfish dream. To know the truth of the world. Because in Attack on Titan, freedom doesn't reward the righteous, it rewards the obsessed. That same arc gives us another defining moment, Kenny's deathbed monologue. After clashing with Levi a few times in the series, Kenny offers a final reflection.
We humans, we're all the same. Every last one of us. For some it's drinking. For some it's women. For some even religion. Family. The king, dreams, children, power. All of us had to spend our lives drunk on something, else we'd have no cause to keep pushing on. Everyone was a slave to something.
Power, love, ideology, even freedom. These things don't liberate us, they control us. And yet, not everyone submits. Historia, the hidden royal child, born to be a pawn, a false queen, and a sacrificial lamb, chose differently, and in one of the most powerful moments in Season 3, she claims her title on her own terms.
けど、こうやって流されやすいのは、間違いなく私。私はヒストリアレイス。この壁の真の王です。
Then comes the basement. The basement had been a literal and symbolic goal for 3 entire seasons. The place Erwin and Eren believed would hold the truth to their freedom. And they were right, but not in the way that they had hoped. What they found wasn't hope. It was real history. It was pain. They weren't trapped inside of a walled city. They were trapped on an island, livestock in a pen, just like Eren had always feared. Only now the pen was bigger. The so-called enemies they'd been fighting weren't monsters, they were people. The remnants of a broken history none of them asked for. And then they reached the ocean, the place Armin had dreamed of since childhood. To him and Mikasa, it was the fulfillment of a dream. But to Eren, it was a strategic checkpoint, a border.
向こうにいる敵、全部殺せば、俺たち、自由になれるのか?
In that moment, the illusion breaks. Eren isn't dreaming anymore, he's planning. Season 3 shows us that freedom isn't free, it's bought with rebellion, betrayal, with blood. And for Eren, it's no longer about breaking the cage, it's about burning it down. This act is where freedom becomes more than just an idea. It becomes weaponized. Eren begins crossing lines even he thought once unthinkable. He shifts from being the oppressed to becoming the oppressor. It all begins when he infiltrates Marley under the name Kruger, a false identity. He blends in as a wounded warrior veteran with PTSD, writing letters, watching, and waiting. Then, during the declaration of war, he confronts Reiner, and we realize Kruger isn't just a new character, he's Eren. Eren tells Reiner he understands why they attacked the island. He even forgives him, because now he shares the same mentality.
I was right. I am the same as you.
This is the moment Eren transitions from a freedom fighter to an anti-hero. His definition of freedom narrows. It becomes exclusive. If you are my enemy, then you're in my way. He weaponizes his supporters, manipulates his brother, and lies to his friends. The Yeagerists rise under his influence. Floch and Yelena take leadership positions in his name. Parody descends into civil conflict and Eren allows it, engineering it under the guise of fighting for the island's freedom. Freedom now has a cost. The peace Parody once held. Then comes Zeke. Zeke's grand plan to save the Eldians isn't revolution, it's extinction. He wants to euthanize the entire race. A slow death, no more children, no more titans, no more suffering. He calls it mercy, a freedom from suffering. But even here, Eren is lying. He never agreed with Zeke, he only pretended to. His true plan required Zeke's trust. When the two finally enter paths, the metaphysical realm of the Titans, they meet Ymir, the founder, the origin of all Titans. Zeke believes he has control, but Eren seizes it. He reveals he's been lying from the start. His will is stronger than Zeke's. Ymir sides with Eren, and in doing so breaks the chains that have bound her for 2,000 years. Eren activates the Rumbling, a global genocide. Hundreds of thousands of colossal titans begin marching across the planet. He speaks not just to the world, but to his closest friends. At this point, Eren no longer seeks freedom for his people, he seeks freedom from opposition. He no longer wants to break the system, he wants to wipe out the idea of oppression entirely. At this point in the story, the illusion of triumph has collapsed. The Rumbling is no longer a theory, it's happening with irreversible consequences. We're finally witnessing the cost of Eren's ideology. His relationships unravel, and his definition of freedom evolves into something darker than anyone imagined. The Rumbling is apocalyptic. Entire cities are flattened. Millions die. Even children like Ramsey, a boy Eren once connected with, are crushed beneath the feet of the Titans. The boy who once cried while watching his mother die has become the cause of unimaginable death. Armin can't rationalize any of it. Eren is no longer someone he understands. Mikasa holds on to the hope that Eren is being manipulated, but that illusion fades. She comes to accept that this was his choice. So an alliance forms. Parody and a few members of Marley, once mortal enemies, now stand together to stop a genocide. Then, in a buried memory, Armin recalls a conversation inside the past, one that had been erased until the moment it mattered most. Eren tells him that everything exists all at once, that he had to do this, that he wanted to be hated so the world would finally unite, that he wanted freedom even if it meant becoming a monster. To Eren, winning the war was a second option for him. Having his closest friend spared for life was his first priority. And in the end, the one who kills him is the one who loved him the most. Mikasa makes the impossible choice, not out of hate, but love, to end the suffering, to stop the spiral and say goodbye. Her final moment with him is quiet, poetic, intimate, and bleeding with tragedy. Afterward, the world pauses. Eren didn't free the planet, but he freed his friends, at least for a little while. With the Titans gone, every nation stands on even ground, but peace is fragile, and wars still bruise in the shadows. Eren is remembered differently by different people. To some, he's a savior, the one who took on the world's hatred so others could be free. To others, he's a devil, the one who nearly destroyed it all. In the end, freedom looked nothing like they imagined. What began as a dream, to see beyond the walls, to reach the ocean, to fly like birds, ended with using those same walls as weapons. The image of freedom became distorted, bent, and broken. It wasn't hope, peace, or victory. It was loss. It was grief. It was goodbye. It was silence. This is what freedom became. When I was a kid, freedom meant doing what I wanted when I wanted, because if I chose it, it felt like there was more meaning in it. But over time, that idea faded. Freedom stopped feeling like a right and started to resemble an overwhelming burden. Attack on Titan made that shift feel real. What began as a simple dream, a boy who just wanted to see the world beyond the walls, became one of the most tragic stories ever told about the price of freedom. Every character was chasing it. Armin chased truth. Reiner and Zeke both chased peace, though through very different means. Mikasa chased it for the people she loved, and Eren chased it until there was nothing left. In the end, none of them were truly free, because the more they tried to reach freedom, the more it slipped through their fingers, whittled away until all that was left was grief, guilt, and loss. The tragedy of Eren's story isn't that he failed to free the world, it's that the harder he fought, the more trapped he became. Trapped by his own rage, trapped by prophecy, trapped by fear. He wanted to fly like a bird, but he was born in a cage. It makes you wonder, what is freedom really? Maybe freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want at any given moment. Maybe it's choosing the clothes you wear that day. Maybe it's deciding when to wake up in the morning. Or maybe it's about choosing who you're willing to become in the pursuit of it all. Attack on Titan doesn't give us an answer. It doesn't pretend freedom is some golden ideal. It gives us something harder, a question to live with. What does freedom cost? Sometimes it costs everything. Sometimes it costs nothing at all. It depends on who's asking and who's willing to pay with what. Thank you for watching. I've been wanting to do a video on Attack on Titan since it's my favorite show of all time and felt that this topic was the best one to cover. Let me know what you think and if you agree with me. Until next time.